Hi everyone, welcome to the CX Collective video. My name is Jordan and I'm an operations manager here at the Collective. Today we're going to give you 4 tips for getting the most out of Zendesk Macros and how they can help you create a more consistent and efficient customer experience. Before we get into the tips, what are macros? So macros in Zendesk are pre-written responses that you can use to quickly respond to common customer questions. They're like templates that you can use to save time and improve your efficiency. And then in Zendesk, you can see here, your agents can access them by clicking the Apply Macro button and then choosing from the options. So here we've got account issue, and then we'll do reset password. And then it expands text here that goes to the customer. And then in this case, we've got it so it automatically changes the status of the ticket depending. So you're saving your team a couple extra clicks there as well. Okay, first tip, research your most common customer questions. First tip here is to identify the most common customer questions your team is receiving and just answering every day. These could include questions about your product or service, billing inquiries, or technical support issues. Once you have a list of these common questions, you can start creating macros to address them. For example, if you run the CX team at a software company, you might find that customers frequently ask about how to reset their password or access a particular feature. Making a macro for that can save your agents countless hours typing out the same responses over and over again. Tip number 2, leave room for personalization. When creating a macro, while you want to be sure to include all the information to actually solve the issue, it's also important to leave room for your agents to go and leave their own personal mark on the ticket, so you're not just getting a robotic response over and over again as a customer. For example, in this example here, we have a customer who needs help resetting their password, and we've applied the reset password template. It's got the instructions here and what happens if that's not working. But then as an agent, I just need to go in and add my own personal flair. So we'll say, hi, Jeremy. Thanks for reaching out. And a personal sign off. I prefer cheers. But let's the agent kind of judge the tone of the conversation and how they approach it. So if Jeremy came in and was super upset, I'd probably instead say, hey, so sorry to hear that. Let me get this sorted for you. And so leaving a macro to just have the actual content and leaving your agent to kind of understand the nuance of the conversation, add in their personal touch, goes a really long way. Tip number 3, group macros by topic. So it's important to create a naming convention for your macros to make it easy for your team to quickly find the right macro to use when responding. If you have a good number of macros, it could be very hard to sort through the list. So if there was 50 options here, it could be hard to find. However, the way we've got it set up here is we've got them grouped into categories. So you can see account issue goes in and there's 3 different account issue options. And the way you're going to create this naming convention in Zendesk is you navigate to your settings and then it's all about how you title them. So if you title something and then use :, it will do that nesting. So here we've got account issue, : reset password, account issue, update name, and then update phone number. And that's why they all show up nested under account issue. Another tip here is if you've got something like a ticket topic field where you're categorizing your tickets for reporting purposes. So in this case, I've got them here. It typically makes sense to have them line up with your macro naming system. So for the ticket topics, we've got the same for account issue, order status, product question, and returns. And then you've got the same here for your macros. So that makes it easy for your agents too to kind of say like, okay, I'm dealing with a product question issue. Let me go to the product question macros to see what I can send to the customer. Okay, and that brings us to tip number 4. Review and update your macros regularly. So it's very important to make sure you've got some sort of cadence to make sure you're checking on your macros and making sure that they're still up to date. I'd recommend putting a reminder on your calendar every quarter, every couple months, just to look at your macro usage and archive old macros, update macros. You'd be surprised, like in a period of a couple months, a macro that your team was using all the time might not happen anymore because the team has pushed out a fix for something. And it's very, very easy for macros to get cluttered. And so the more consistently you can keep them updated, the more your team will be able to use them. So those are the 4 tips for making your macros and keeping them updated. Thanks for tuning in.